The scriptures also tell us, when we speak of heresy, that they must or shall be among us. We can't prevent them. God uses it to cleanse his church, and it happens every so often. In fact, some have seen more than one heresy in their lifetime. And when we consider even just generational changes, I heard from my own grandfather about heresies from the 1930s. And he even mentioned this, how at least in those heresies, again, the topic began to be around forgiveness, even though it wasn't, those words weren't used that way, but the topic came up. And he had, in his day, wondered which group was correct, because the sermons sounded the same. And he told us that one Sunday morning he went to one of the churches, and the preacher there that morning said that previous night he had figured it out. Like the problems that had caused division and caused so much confusion, he had finally figured it out. And so he told the congregation that in the middle of the night, when he had figured it out, he woke up and he turned and he slugged his wife. And she woke up and "What are you doing that for?" And he replied, "Don't you understand? It's already been paid for." So in his mind, forgiveness was something that Jesus accomplished on that first Easter, and it carried through our entire life. And so no matter what we did, it was already paid for, and there's no reason to worry about it. It was sin that was covered by the blood of Christ. And so he was allowed to do anything. But on the other hand, we can also find examples in our history here in North American Christianity of the opposite, where when we speak of faith and forgiveness, it was like they got turned around backwards, where forgiveness was put in front of faith, where there were demands for certain kinds of forgiveness. And the only time that they're allowed to feel at peace was when they had heard from some believer that their sins were forgiven in Jesus' name and blood. And then that brings us down a road where at the end of our days, we're distressed and worried, and will someone be there at the last moment at our bedside to preach the forgiveness of sins? Otherwise, we won't make it to heaven. It's works. It can be turned into works.